welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're tackling something, well, truly massive, the global infrastructure services market.
Huge topic.
Yeah, we've got this comprehensive report looking at 2025 and beyond, and the scale. It's kind of mind-boggling, actually.
Absolutely. I mean, this isn't just about some servers humming away in a back room anymore, is it?
Not at all.
This is the fundamental plumbing, really, that powers our whole digital existence. Everything from the apps on your phone to, the biggest global companies.
Exactly. So in 2025 alone, this market, it's projected to be nearly $160 billion. That's USD 159,842.5 million, the report says.
Wow.
But get this, by 2033, it's forecast to just explode for over $810 billion.
That kind of growth really just highlights how essential these services are becoming. Every click, every online purchase,
Yeah.
it all relies on this backbone.
And that growth rate, the compound annual growth rate, or CAGR, is 22.5% from 2025 to 2033. That just shows the incredible speed this is all moving at.
It's rapid.
So our mission today is really to cut through the noise, understand what's driving this colossal growth, where it's happening fastest, and maybe what it means for you as we all navigate this digital world.
Right. And we've synthesized a pretty detailed market report, so we've got a good set of data points to connect and really analyze here.
Okay, so let's get right into it then. Those headline numbers are huge, but what does that growth actually look like on the ground, geographically? The report gives a really detailed picture.
It does. And if you think about digitalization spreading globally, these regional variations, they really tell a story, don't they, about where different parts of the world are on their tech journey.
North America.
Yeah.
It's currently holding the biggest slice of the pie, about 37% in 2025.
Okay.
Which translates to a staggering USD 59,141.73 million, and it's still growing at a solid clip, a CDR of 20.8%. The U.S. is the powerhouse there, obviously.
Yeah. And that U.S. dominance, it's not really surprising, is it? We saw very early, very significant investment in cloud tech there, both from the big tech players headquartered there and just, wide adoption across industries gave them a head start.
Makes sense.
The 2025 number for the U.S. is USD 46,662.82 million, with that 20.6% of CGR you mentioned.
Canada and Mexico are also pretty significant players in North America. Canada's market is projected at just over USD 7 billion in 2025, slightly higher TGR, actually, 21.6%.
Oh, interesting. Why higher?
The report links it to strong demand for data privacy, cybersecurity solutions. That seems to be a big driver there.
Okay, yeah, data sovereignty concerns.
Exactly. In Mexico, around USD 5.4 billion, growing at 21.3%. That's fueled more by booming e-commerce and just general digitalization efforts.
It's fascinating how those national priorities like data security in Canada can really shape the growth,
Definitely. Okay, shifting gears to Europe. It accounts for about 29% of the global market in 2025. So USD 46,354.33 million, growing at 21.4% TGR overall.
Still very strong growth. But Europe's always a diverse picture, isn't it?
Very diverse.
So you've got the UK market size around USD 7.8 billion in 2025 and a pretty robust CAGR, 22.2%.
Higher than the European average.
Yeah, driven by, like you said, for Canada, data protection rules, but also a huge finance sector there that just needs super reliable, secure infrastructure.
Right, finance is key.
Then Germany, even bigger in size, USD 9.1 billion, CAGR of 21.6%. That's boosted a lot by Industry 4.0 adoption, smart manufacturing, automation.
That whole transformation in manufacturing.
Exactly.
And we also see, substantial markets in Russia, France, Italy, Spain, all multi-billion-dollar markets in 2025. Growth rates generally hovering around that 20% mark.
Right.
Even some smaller economies like Sweden, Denmark, Switzerland, Luxembourg, they're showing really impressive key years too, around 21, 22%.
So that widespread growth across Europe, it suggests, a fundamental grasp of needing strong digital foundations, doesn't it? Even if the specific reasons vary country by country.
Yeah, it seems foundational now. Now let's move to a region the report really flags for, explosive growth potential. APAC, Asia Pacific.
Okay, this should be interesting.
It holds a 24% share in 2025, so USD 38,362.20 million. But here's the kicker. It has the highest overall CAGR, 25.6%.
Wow, okay. That fits with what we see, right? The sheer speed of digitalization in many Asian economies.
Totally. China's leading the charge there. Massive UFD, 16.1 billion market in 2025. Strong CAGR too, 25.1%.
Driven by their digital economy push and, huge data center investments, both public and private.
Japan and South Korea also have big existing markets, solid growth. But India really stands out on growth rate.
Oh, yeah.
Projected CAGR of 27.5%. That's the highest for any country mentioned.
27.5%.
Yeah. On a 2025 market about USD 3.8 billion. The report puts it down to big digital transformation programs and a really dynamic startup scene.
That growth in India is fascinating. It feels like they're leapfrogging in some areas, going straight to cloud, you know?
Seems like it.
And you see strong KJLs elsewhere too, right? Australia, Singapore, Taiwan, Southeast Asia. It's a broad expansion across APAC.
Definitely a hotspot. Okay, turning to other parts of the world. South America holds about a 4% share in 2025, USD 6 billion, roughly, and a healthy KGR of 23.3%.
And Brazil leads there, I assume.
Yeah, Brazil's the clear frontrunner. But USD 2.6 billion market in 2025, CAGR of 23.9%.
What's driving it in Brazil?
Increasing mobile connectivity, the developing digital economy. Argentina, Colombia, Peru, Chile are also adding to that growth picture in South America.
Okay.
Middle East, also around 4% share in 2025. A bit larger in value, USD 6.4 billion, and a strong CGR too, 24.0%.
Key markets there would be.
Saudi Arabia and the UAE are highlighted. Saudi Arabia, USD 2.25 billion market, 24.3% CGR. That's really boosted by their Vision 2030 plan.
Right, the big diversification push, lots of cloud investment.
Exactly. UAE also strong, USD 1.3 billion, 24.5% KGR. Turkey and Qatar also get mentioned as notable players.
So strong growth there too.
Yeah. And finally, Africa represents about 2.2% of the global market in 2025. That's around USD 3.5 billion with a CGR of 22.8%.
Okay, smaller show, but still growing fast.
Right. South Africa's largest market mentioned, USD 1.2 billion, 23.7% CAGR. Driven by rising internet access and digitalization. Nigeria is smaller now, around USD 280 million, but its CGR is 23%, so definitely signals future potential.
Right, starting from a smaller base, but growing.
So pulling that all together. It's clear North America leads in share now, but APAC, particularly India, is where the growth is really accelerating fastest.
Absolutely. That geographical picture is really revealing.
So what are the fundamental forces actually, propelling this massive global expansion? What are the drivers?
Well, the report points to a few key things. Number one, it's the ever-increasing demand for cloud computing and just, broad digital transformation strategies.
Right.
Businesses everywhere are seeing the benefits, agility, efficiency of moving to the cloud.
That's a trend we hear about constantly. What else?
Secondly, the huge adoption of IoT, the Internet of Things, and various smart technologies, smart homes, smart cities, smart factories.
All those connected devices.
Exactly. They create this enormous need for infrastructure to handle all that data being generated and processed.
Yeah, think about smart thermostats, industrial sensors. The data has to go somewhere, be managed, analyzed.
Precisely. And the third big driver is just the ongoing consistent investment in data centers and IT infrastructure overall. You need the physical and virtual backbone to support all this cloud and IoT demand.
So it's the pull from digital services, the push from all these connected devices, and then the investment needed to actually make it all work.
That sums it up pretty well.
Paints a clear picture of why it's booming.
Yeah.
But are there any potential speed bumps, any challenges the report highlights?
It does mention a couple of restraints. First, the high initial investment costs. Building out this infrastructure, even renting it, plus the ongoing maintenance, it can be a barrier.
Especially for smaller players, I imagine.
Exactly. It's a significant financial commitment.
Right. And secondly, cybersecurity risks and data privacy concerns. Those are huge. As more sensitive data moves to the cloud, protecting it and navigating all the complex regulations becomes a major challenge.
Yeah, those are definitely things that keep business leaders, and probably individuals too, up at night. Okay, looking ahead now, what about key trends shaping the future here?
One really notable trend is the shift towards hybrid cloud infrastructure.
Ah, the mix and match approach.
Exactly. Organizations are realizing that blending public cloud for flexibility, scalability with private cloud for control, security often gives the best results, especially when you factor in things like data sovereignty.
Where the data has to legally reside.
Right. And regulatory compliance, so it's not always an either.
Finding that right balance makes sense.
Precisely. And another big trend is the ongoing rollout of 5G networks.
Still happening.
Yeah. And this next-gen mobile tech, it just demands more sophisticated, faster infrastructure to handle the increased bandwidth and, crucially, the lower latency it enables. All right, 5G needs the right plumbing underneath it to actually deliver on its promises. The report also segments the market by the type of solution offered. What's leading the pack there?
Currently, managed hosting is the dominant segment.
So outsourcing the management.
Yeah, it reflects that ongoing trend of businesses saying, look, let's have specialized providers handle our infrastructure so we can focus on our main business.
Better reliability, security, maybe cost savings.
Often, yes. And within managed hosting, the focus is increasingly on hybrid and multi-cloud management,
Yeah.
helping companies manage across different cloud environments.
Okay, but what's the fastest growing solution?
That, interestingly, is disaster recovery as a service, or DaaS.
Ah, that makes perfect sense, doesn't it? With all the cyber attacks we hear about, plus natural disasters, businesses need to bounce back quickly.
Absolutely. Business continuity is critical. DaaS offers flexible, scalable ways to recover from disruptions. It's becoming almost non-negotiable.
Yeah, table stakes now.
Pretty much. The report also mentions other solutions, of course. Storage as a service, colocation, network management, content delivery networks, even high-performance computing as a service. Lots of specialized needs being met.
Okay. And how is this infrastructure actually being deployed? Public, private, hybrid?
Well, as we touched on, public cloud is still the dominant deployment type right now.
The big players, AWS, Azure, Google Cloud.
Exactly. Their cost-effectiveness, scalability, accessibility, it makes public cloud very attractive for many. Easy to scale up or down, pay as you go.
Yeah.
However, mirroring that trend we mentioned, hybrid cloud is the fastest growing deployment model.
Again, that need for balance.
Right, balancing public cloud agility with private cloud control and security, driven by data management needs, regulations, and of course, private cloud still exists for organizations with very specific requirements for dedicated resources.
Okay, now let's think about who is actually using all these services. Segmentation by application. Where's the biggest demand coming from?
The IT and telecom sector is the largest application segment currently.
Makes sense.
Yeah, driven by 5G expansion, just the explosion in data traffic, reliance on cloud communication platforms. These companies need incredibly robust, scalable infrastructure themselves.
They're building the digital highways, so they need the best roads underneath. What about the fastest growing application area?
That would be retail and e-commerce.
Ah, the online shopping boom.
Exactly. That huge shift online, digital payments, it creates massive demand for infrastructure that can handle traffic spikes, secure transactions, manage inventory efficiently. Plus, think about personalized experiences, omni-channel integration.
Trying to make that seamless experience whether you're online or in store.
Right. That all needs sophisticated infrastructure behind it.
Absolutely critical for retail now. And what about the end users? Big companies versus small ones.
Enterprises, large organizations, they're the dominant end user segment. They have complex needs, right? So they rely heavily on managed hosting, DIS, hybrid cloud to boost productivity, manage huge data volumes, keep things secure.
Big businesses, big IT needs.
Yep. But interestingly, small and medium-sized businesses, SMBs, are the fastest growing end user segment.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they're increasingly adopting these often more cost-effective cloud solutions to get more efficient, more competitive. It gives them access to enterprise-level infrastructure that, used to be way out of reach financially.
So the cloud is kind of democratizing access to powerful IT for smaller companies too.
That's a good way to put it, yeah.
Okay, finally, let's touch on the competitive landscape. Right. Who are the main players duking it out in this massive arena?
Well, it's intensely competitive, but you've got the clear market leaders. Amazon Web Services, AWS, Microsoft Azure, and Google Cloud.
The big three. No surprise there.
No, these tech giants are just constantly pushing innovation in cloud and digital infrastructure.
So what are their main strategies? How do they stay on top?
A lot of focus on improving scalability, constantly boosting security, enhancing performance, often using AI, machine learning, edge computing.
Bringing computing closer to where the data is generated.
Exactly. They're also investing heavily in their hybrid cloud offerings, building out more data centers globally, strengthening cybersecurity. And strategic partnerships are absolutely key. Collaborating with other tech companies, system integrators.
Right, building those ecosystems. The report even mentions some recent moves by these players.
Yeah, a couple of examples. January 2025, AWS launched its New Mexico Central region. That's a big investment, over $5 billion.
Wow.
Yeah, aimed at boosting tech infrastructure there, letting local companies keep data in Mexico, stimulating the economy, shows that ongoing global expansion.
Definitely planting flags. What about Microsoft?
In November 2024, they introduced Azure Local. That's designed for edge computing, hybrid cloud scenarios. Lets businesses run Azure services closer to home, so to speak.
More hybrid and edge focus.
Right. broad hardware compatibility, unified management through Azure Arc for security, data sovereignty. They also launched Azure Migrate for VMware, making it easier for VMware users to move to their platform.
Smoothing the path to their ecosystem. And it mentioned Light Edge, too.
Yes, October 2024, LightEdge launched a new infrastructure as a service offering. It integrates IBM Cloud with other public clouds using the Equinix data center network.
So connecting different clouds together.
Essentially, yeah. Aiming for flexibility, scalability, security, supporting global hybrid strategies with low latency.
So it sounds like strategic alliances, hybrid solutions, global reach. Those are the big themes in the competition right now.
Absolutely. It's a very dynamic market. These players are constantly adapting to stay ahead and meet customer needs.
Okay, wow. We've really dug deep into this huge, fast-moving global infrastructure services market. Let's maybe try to recap the biggest takeaways.
Sure. First, just the sheer scale, right? Going from nearly $160 billion in 2025 to potentially over $810 billion by 2033. That 22.5% AGR is just enormous.
And while growth is strong everywhere, it's the Asia-Pacific region, particularly India, showing the most rapid expansion rates.
Yeah, and the key drivers are clear. Relentless demand for cloud, digital transformation, the IoT explosion, and just major ongoing investment in data centers and core IT infrastructure.
Solutions like disaster recovery as a service, DAREAS, are growing super fast. And hybrid cloud is the deployment model really gaining momentum, offering that balance.
And while big enterprises are still the main customers, SMBs are adopting these services faster than anyone, leveling the playing field in some ways. And the competitive scene is dominated by the big three, who are innovating like mad and forming key partnerships.
It's just so clear, isn't it? This shift to digital, it's not slowing down. It's fundamental.
Yeah.
And the infrastructure behind it is just absolutely vital.
Which brings us to a really crucial point for you, the listener, to think about. How might these huge trends in global infrastructure impact the technologies and services you use every single day?
Yeah, and maybe think about the future direction of your own work, your own projects in this digital world. What new possibilities, what new opportunities does this constantly expanding infrastructure actually unlock?
Definitely something to ponder.
It really is. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.